to share with you two places where I do quite a bit of my learning these days. One is in my living room. Here's my son at my computer. I'm usually doing most of my work after he and my daughter have already gone to sleep. But a lot of online learning happens there, and sometimes in my closet. That's where I call it my office, since we live in a pretty small apartment. And the other big learning environment, a physical learning environment, is my school library. Here some students are looking at a human leg, comparing it with a gray whale skeleton. This last May. I learned so much from my students every day. And I wanted to share with you my Symbaloo mix, where I have a lot of the tools that I use every day. And thinking of the connections with my social learning network. I have my kind of communication tools here and my news sources, airline flights and banking and needs, entertainment, reading, and emails and shopping, sort of on my home page. The page I probably use most every day is what I titled education page, and that's sort of where my library work and school work is located. Here's my Net Vibes page, which was introduced by you about, and I'm using it for my book blogs to kind of keep track of them all. Some new tools, Pictochart and Prezi I've learned in my program here. It's this list program. And all of my kind of SJSU, library, Canvas pages. Took 2 classes with Dr. David Lorcher and learned a lot from him, so I feel like still trying to keep in touch with what's happening in his research and articles. And I also feel like I've really learned a lot from the librarians that I've collaborated with, fellow students across the country. Here is my work email, Virtual Learning Commons, Library Catalog, San Francisco Library, and SFUSD Teacher Librarians blog and connection website, LibGuides, and the SFUSD kind of homepage for employees. So I feel like I use these every single day. And then I use a number of these other tabs just as for ideas to add to the Virtual Learning Commons or to recommend to a teacher. The EduTools I found I'm learning more and more about. VoiceThread I learned this semester, and the school library page, as well as eTools for Education. I'm learning more and more about every day. This Animoto page I learned about from a fellow teacher this summer. I'm hoping to use it with a Makers Fair. And this page has my site of digital footprint, so the websites I worked on, the blogs, conference I put together for the last few years. And I used to be a ballet dancer, so these are sort of articles or photos about me. And then my work as a science, literacy, and art instructional coach before I became a librarian. And I like to use this page to sort of talk to students about their digital footprint and have them think about sort of what kind of mark do you plan to leave on the internet, and what do you want it to say about you, and sort of the choices we make about what we choose to put out there in writing. And the last thing I'd like to share is just about a reflection using the Spicy Notes page that I put together. And let's see if I can pull it up. Here we go. I feel like I've learned, these are some of my connections with people and how I communicate with them. with the librarians in the district. We have a Google group, an email, and social mixers, of course, professional development, and we also connect at conferences. Through San Jose State University, I feel like we collaborate with Blackboard and Canvas and Google Docs and email. Using the library and the librarians there, as well as my SJSU for connecting with sort of the administrative side of school. For Fairmount Elementary, both a parent and a teacher, so staying connected through the Yahoo groups, both for staff and for parents. The Facebook page, the library website has some interactive comments and a bilingual blog and places for families to communicate directly with the librarian. Staff meetings and professional development using Google Classroom and Destiny Quest with my students, and then of course happy hour and sort of school functions. And reading for pleasure and for the profession, I have the blogs and Twitter, as well as some other news and online reading platforms. And for staying in touch with friends, I have Facebook, Pinterest, and email, and texting through WhatsApp and WeChat I just learned about in China. And it's a way for me to stay in touch with the teacher friends I made there. So in reflecting kind of on this professional learning network and professional learning environment, I feel like, personal rather, it's funny you said that too, personal learning environment. I feel like it's interesting how these different categories overlap. For example, that Animoto app I just learned about was through my son's summer camp teacher, and now I'm thinking about how to use it in the library. And a friend who recommends a book on Goodreads might end up turning into a book that I recommend to a young adult middle school or high school librarian for their library. And I just think it's so interesting how all of these connections can intersect. And look forward to learning more and learning new tools. Thanks for listening. Bye.